Today's episode is sponsored by Relief Factor. Pain from everyday living, exercise, or just getting older is one of the leading causes of trips to the doctor and sleepless nights. It interferes with daily activities and can even keep us from spending time with the people we love. If you have everyday pain, it stands to reason you need something you can feel comfortable with taking every day. That's why doctors invented 100% drug-free Relief Factor. Now, tens of thousands of customers are using Relief Factor every day to become mostly or completely pain-free. 100% drug-free, Relief Factor features 4 key ingredients that each work on a different metabolic pathway to support your body's natural healing process to respond to pain and inflammation. Now, you can try Relief Factor 2. The 3-week quick start retail price of almost $70 is now available to our listeners for just $19.95. What? That's fucking nuts. Head to the link in our show notes to find out more and start your journey to better health with less pain today with Relief Factor.
Have either of you experienced any blackouts, stretches of time that you can't account for?
You'll love this one. It's a scream, baby. Do not open this door. What's the matter with you people? I was joking. Don't you know it's a joke when you hear one?
Star date 06/16/2021. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Captain's Log. This is your captain speaking, Jose Valle Jr., joined virtually by my co-host and first officer, Mr. Mason Schrader. Mason, how are you? How you been? Have you had any visitations by the Greys yet?
No. Okay. Well, in order of those questions, fine. Stop asking. And none of your business.
Oh. So he called you back. Glipglorp called you back.
Listen. Let's move on.
Well, today, you don't have to worry about visitors from out of this world, Mason. You just have to worry about visitors from beyond the veil.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. Because today, we are taking our first look at one of the infamous cases covered by the equally infamous Warrens, as in Ed and Lorraine Warren. A case that is
Don't
sure...
forget their even arguably more famous daughter, Elizabeth.
Very good,
Senator
Mason.
Elizabeth
Very good.
Warren,
Now that's very good. Thank you for that
who
one.
is
That's
not
very
fighting
good.
demons. She's fighting injustice. Inequality, but like kind of.
50-50.
Listen, she's doing more good than bad.
Yes. This is a case that is sure to be in the public eye, as a film based on the events surrounding it just came out a couple of weeks ago. That's right, today we are talking about the inspiration behind The Devil Made Me Do It, the possession...
Into the Heights. Right?
Yeah, the infamous Warren case of Into the Heights, where they were like, they're brown people.
Heights.
I don't know.
I don't know, yeah. Lin-Manuel Miranda's in it, so I'm guessing it's a musical.
Yes, it is. Yeah. I think they rap in it, too, because he loves to rap.
Listen, what else would they do?
Well, anyway, we're talking about the inspiration behind The Devil Made Me Do It, the possession of Arne Johnson, which... Are you familiar with this at all, Mason? Aside from... I think we've both seen the movie.
Yes.
So...
Yeah, I've
seen the movie. I've seen the entirety of the movie.
I've seen the important parts of the movie. I feel like I've definitely heard about it before. I don't know. We'll see. We'll get into it.
So, for those of you, before we begin, there will be spoilers for the third installment in the Conjuring trilogy. So, if you haven't seen the film yet and want to walk in,
listen to the podcast
not knowing
entirely.
anything.
Well, leave it. Take your headphones off, but let the episode play all the way through.
Yes, because we need that.
That would really help.
That would help us a lot. But everybody else, though, that has seen it and is fine with knowing what it got completely wrong and the real case behind it, come with us.
I feel like you're gonna come in. You're gonna come in hot today, aren't you?
Yes.
I don't know. I think you're gonna be aggressive towards this film.
Nah, we'll see. I don't know. Anyway, everybody else, though, come with us as we travel to the distant year of 1980.
We can dance if we want to.
We can
Leave our hands
hand
behind.
behind. Because your friends don't dance, and if they don't dance, well, they're no friends of mine. The story of Arne Cheyenne Johnson and his defense team's claim of not guilty by means of demonic possession begins with an 11-year-old boy named David Glatzel. It began when, and I actually think most people called him Cheyenne instead of Arne, but I changed it to Arne so you wouldn't be confused, Mason.
I appreciate that. I don't know. I think I would have figured that out.
No, you would have thought I was talking about your girlfriend
been like,
in a demon
why
murder
didn't you tell
case.
me Jose's got a whole podcast worth of information about things you've never told me in our entire 6-year relationship? You think I would have? You think that's?
And
what
then
would've
she
happened?
just would have gone like, I don't know.
She would have been like, I have work. Could
Yeah.
you stop? And then I'd be like, sorry.
Ah. Well, anyway, so it began when the Glatzel family moved into a new rental home in the town of Brookfield, Connecticut.
Was it in Connecticut in the movie? I don't mean to already be
Yes.
like, what the fuck?
Yes, it
but
was.
I
But
thought
it's
it was
very-
in the South.
It seemed like it was, right? But that's
Yeah.
but it was also in Connecticut. They were just very like about
Make it look
the
like
map.
Tennessee.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's move on.
The family was accompanied by 19-year-old Arne Johnson, the then boyfriend, or according to some sources, fiance at this point. I wasn't sure on whether or not they were already engaged. Of Debbie Glatzel, the oldest of the Glatzel children.
I think she was just trying to get rid of her last name.
I don't like it.
Glatzel's not good.
Not a good last name. Sorry to the family, but it's not a good last name. So he accompanied them as they went to clean the new rental property. David, the Glatzel's youngest, who again was 11 years old in case you've already forgotten, he would claim that an old man appeared, pushing and terrifying him. Debbie and Arne at first
fucking
thought,
dick. Come on, come here. Get shoved. You get fucking shoved. You come over my.
"You're
next
looking
to
at you,
me,
little
you get
bitch."
shoved.
Just fucking,
Yeah. Oh, why are you in a new house?
"Shut the fuck up and get out of here. I want some
Stop
little
shoving me.
Caesars." And that's when that was the first time that demon came to Earth. Was in the 80s.
Was it? Is that canon?
I don't know. We'll see.
Is that
We will decide.
Is that LCD canon?
We will decide. Maybe he shows up later, but maybe that's his. I don't know. We'll see.
I'm a little afraid he's already showed up before this because I'm pretty sure
he
his
has.
first episode, which was the exorcism in Iowa,
You're right.
was well before the 80s.
Sorry. He showed up, but he had a mullet. That's the key difference here. He just showed
did
up, but he
have,
had a
like,
mullet. Yeah.
The weird flat sunglasses and
A
shoulder
bright,
pads.
like a bright suit
blazer.
blazer. Yeah. So, and I believe that the movie did get this right. I think it did occur while he was on a waterbed that he first encountered.
They did.
I think they did get that right.
and I
yeah.
thought that was a weird, weird like little thing they had in there that I'm like, is this a waterbed?
Yeah.
It's such an 80s
was the
thing
80s.
to be haunted.
Well, that's the thing,
It's
right?
like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
So, Debbie and Arne at first thought that David was simply making these claims to get out of contributing and helping with the housework. You know, classic 11-year-old shit where you're like, oh my god, a demon's fiddling me, and so now I don't have to clean the house.
One time when moving, I rolled my ankle and I thought I fucking broke it, and I was lying in the curb of the street, unable to fucking walk, and my brother was like, I thought you were just faking this because you didn't want to move anymore. I'm like, you think I laid down in the fucking gutter because I didn't want to walk anymore? Move, you fuckface.
Seems like something you would do, Mason.
It happens.
It
You know,
happens.
people keep saying I'm the type of person who would fake. I have, like, and several times in my life been accused, been like, oh, we just thought you were faking that injury to get out of doing something. And I'm like, I don't fucking do that. I've never done that. And they're like, it seems like something you
Seems
do.
like
I'm
something
like,
you would do,
okay,
Mason.
assholes. I don't know why this keeps happening to me, but I don't like it.
So, David was adamant, however, and informed them that the old man had promised that he would harm the Glatzel family if they moved in. David would then, hey, you little shit, if your family fucking gets up here, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you, you hear me?
I don't know why you chose me. I don't have a lot of say.
Hey, you fucking shaking the
stop
kid.
pushing
Hey, you
me.
fucking-
Stop shoving me. I'm only the child. You should really call my mother. And
No,
my
you were
father.
gonna convince the whole family.
Oh.
The 11-year-old boy. I know what I'm doing. All right, get the fuck out of here.
You don't seem like you're a good demon. I mean, like, good at being a demon.
The demon
You're
just-
obviously a bad demon.
What the fuck? What are you trying to say with that? I'm doing my best. What?
I just feel like if you don't.
What, you been talking to my father? You been talking to my father, you son of a bitch?
I don't know your dad, Mr. D. Oh no! Hey,
I'm gonna kill your family, you asshole.
I'm real scared of you. Is that better? I'm real scared.
Don't patronize me, kid.
Stop crying, please. It's really bumming me out.
You wanna get some Little Caesars then, or what?
Does that exist in the 80s?
If it doesn't, we're gonna start it. Well, the canon for me is all over the place, kid. I don't know. So,
Like a very poorly identified character that keeps being
you seem
shoved
like
into
a
things
shut the fuck up.
unreasonable.
Look, now I'm gonna give you a wedgie. Shut up, bitch. Get out of here.
Oh my butt.
So David would then begin to have visions of the old man, who would appear to him as a demonic beast who would utter Latin phrases at him and threaten to steal his soul. Again, I was gonna say, like, I like the idea of, like, Latin phrases, like, he's just like, Vene Venedici or whatever. The one girl, like, white girl one that's like, I came, I saw, I conquered, you know what I mean?
In rescue de patchy dick face.
Rome wasn't built in a day. Hey, that's not in Latin. Oh,
It's
fuck.
not
Yeah,
even
you're right.
Well, how about suckers my dickus? Oh, you got him again.
So the family would later recall hearing strange noises occasionally coming from the attic, but no one but David would actually see the old man. The encounters between David and this old man would become more frequent and more violent in nature. David would wake up in the middle of the night crying hysterically and describing a man with black eyes, a thin face with jagged teeth, pointed ears, horns, and hoofs. The family would call upon the Catholic Church, requesting the services of various different priests to bless the house, but all to no avail. And this is where the infamous demonologist couple, Ed and Lorraine Warren, come in. Just like, "Meow," like a rock sting. "Meow," they're pulling up in like a fucking Mustang, just Ed Warren's got sunglasses on, and he's like, window comes down, and he's like, I heard you were in need of a demonologist.
And then he opens the door and he's like,
Yeah, he's got a cane.
because
like,
he's fat
"God
and
damn
he
it."
has to
He's
roll
got,
out of it.
every time I see a picture of Ed, I will, full disclaimer right now, I will say this. I love Ed and Lorraine Warren in the movies. I think they're very fun. I really, really like them.
You mean you love those characters that
I
have been
love
written
those
specifically
fake
to be the
characters
main
of Ed and
characters
Lorraine
of
Warren
yeah.
from the Conjuring franchise, as played by Patrick Wilson and what's her name? Vera Farmiga?
Vera Farmiga?
Yeah.
Farmiga?
Farmiga or something like that. Anyway, but the real Ed and Lorraine Warren, I'm 50-50 on them. But I will say this. Every time I see pictures of Ed Warren, it always throws me because he had a weird neck. Yeah, have you ever seen pictures of him? I'll throw one up here for the video watchers, but he's got like a weird neck roll situation.
He's got a muffin top, but at the top
But
of
at the
his
top
collar.
of yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, the family, feeling frustrated that nothing was being done, called on the services of the Warrens to help them rid their son of this terrible plague.
He experienced strangling attempts by invisible hands, which he tried to pull from his neck, and powerful forces would flop him rapidly, head to toe like a rag doll. Okay, but that first one description, though, is like every kid I've ever seen have a meltdown at Walmart or a restaurant.
Just that?
No,
Strangling?
like kicking and biting.
Oh, yeah,
and being
yeah.
Like, fuck you,
Yeah.
fuck you.
Yeah.
That's every kid. Yeah.
At this time, Johnson, Arne Johnson, began to stay with the Glatzel family, wishing to help as much as he could.
He was just trying to fuck.
Yeah, well.
Right.
But it seems the child's nightly terrors began to bleed into the daytime as well. David would describe seeing...
An old man with a white beard dressed in a flannel shirt and jeans.
That's just Santa Claus on the off season, I think.
That's every old white man I've ever seen.
I think I saw like 3 of them when we went to the bar when I visited you in Iowa.
That's every single old white man in Iowa. There's so many of them.
So, he would go on to start hissing, having seizures, and speaking in strange voices, quoting from the Bible and John Milton's Paradise Lost. After meeting with the family and learning as much as they could about the case, the Warrens would conclude that this was clearly a case of demonic possession. However, psychiatrists who had investigated the case claimed that David was merely suffering from a learning disability.
Those are the two most polar opposite
Right.
fucking things I could.
But also, a learning disability?
Like that's an extreme. Is this just like a weird like 80s they didn't understand?
I think that's the
Right?
way I like sat with it. I was like, well, they must have just been like, well, we don't really know.
Because that's got to be like
that-
extreme schizophrenia.
Right. I'm like,
You know
that
what I
can't
mean?
be. If it's not demons and whatever, then it's got to be that. Like, it can't be. Oh, he
he's
doesn't
just-
know how to count.
He's
Like,
dyslexic.
yeah, he's dyslexic.
He's been trying to say Santa this whole time. It just sounds like Satan because he doesn't know how to spell.
And his parents are just like, where'd you get your degree again? Oxford Ghost Institute in
Well, to be fair,
Alabama.
though, also, like, where did you get your degree from, Ed?
Oxford Ghost Institute.
Actually, no, he's like, well, miss, actually, that's a great question. I'm really happy you asked. I actually went to a prestigious university called the Oxford Paranormal Society.
Oh, that's right. That's what it was
Wow,
called.
that's so impressive. The other guy went to fucking some dumb hillbilly school. And he's like, no, well, not me. I didn't. And you said you went to the Vatican? No,
I went to
was-
Little Italy in New York,
I've been there.
which is kind of the same thing.
I've been to Pizza Paul's Popery in Las Vegas, where a man dressed as a pope fed me 6 slices of pizza.
All right.
I'll tell you what, the only thing haunted in that hotel room was the bathroom, if you know what I'm saying. Whew.
A ghost came out of my ass, ma'am.
You know, it is really hard to slander them because I picture Patrick Wilson.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, because he's so wholesome.
Because he's so wholesome and charismatic. That's what I'm saying. Is I love the movie Warrens. I'm like,
Yes.
they showed up and they tell me I'm possessed. I'm like, fuck. You know what? Maybe I am.
When Patrick Wilson says like, I'm a man of faith and these are my convictions, I'm like, oh,
He's
that's
a
such
man
good
of
point.
faith.
But then I see the real
Those
one
are
say
his
it, I'm like,
convictions.
fuck this fucking piece of shit with his lying bullshit for money. No, I don't give a shit about you.
And maybe we'll have a little discussion on the Warrens at the end. We'll see.
Yeah.
After their conclusion of demonic possession, the Warrens would assist in 3 lesser exorcisms, which I do want to take a second and explain what this means, because I was also confused on it, and I had to consult the church canon. I went down to my local parish, and I was like, hey, what's this? And the priest was like, get the fuck out of here.
I don't know, Jose. That sounds like some made-up bullshit. I'm
Jose,
a priest.
I'm a
not
priest.
ghost
I gotta
hunter.
fucking bless this bread or something. I don't know. Get the fuck out of here.
Listen, I'm just trying to fuck these nuns, if you know what I'm saying. Woo. I'm sorry, what?
Blah, 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 blah. Back it up. What did you say there? So first things first. This explanation is for exorcisms in the Christian faith, specifically with the Catholic Church, as exorcisms are not a specifically Christian creation or practice, which I didn't know. This is very interesting
I
to me.
didn't know that either, yeah.
But they're actually, I believe, Buddhist, Hindus, and Islam, Muslims also believe or practice exorcisms, but they vary.
They all exercise, Jose.
That is true.
Anybody can
I
exercise.
misread that then. Damn. There is a distinction within the Catholic Church on exorcisms. There is the formal exorcism, which can only be done by a priest during baptism or with approval of a bishop at any other time.
Wait, a formal exorcism can only be done during a baptism?
During a baptism, when someone and that could be like as a
but
child.
You can be baptized as many times as you want, right?
No, you can only be baptized once within the Catholic Church. Most people are baptized as a kid, but if you're a convert later on, you can be baptized as a full-grown adult.
Right. Okay. Well, I just didn't realize
And
that you could only be formally exercised.
And I don't know
through
this because I'm not the
baptism.
most well-versed Catholic, but I believe that what they mean by baptism, it means that I know that baptism is supposed to be purging you of like previous sin or whatever, and I imagine that that's what they mean by like that they're exercising any sort of bad thing from you.
Okay.
Anyway,
Okay.
that's a
makes
whole
sense. Yeah,
theological
that
thing,
makes
but
sense. Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
but they can do it at any other time with the approval of a bishop, which is what we see like in the Conjuring movies and the Exorcist movies, stuff like that. This is referred to as a major exorcism, with the ritual instructions given in section 11 of the Rituale Romanum. These instructions give guidelines on how to conduct the exorcism and when an exorcism is actually required. Priests are also instructed to carefully determine that the nature of the affliction is not actually a psychological or physical illness before proceeding. That's why in real life, not the movie universe, there's not as many exorcisms happening as you would think. You know, people will be like, my family member is possessed, and the Catholic Church will be like, first go get a psychiatrist to check them out. And if they, you know what I mean, like based on, make sure that they don't have like, they got food poisoning or something. You know what I mean?
Are the priests, are they qualified to deem whether or not someone needs an exorcist then?
Yes,
Or does this actual psychiatrist have to be like, no, this is you know what I mean?
Yeah,
are they able to diagnose like mental issues then, I guess? To an extent, not like officially.
I'm assuming, yeah, exactly, to an extent. And you know, the thing is, the seminaries, they do teach them things besides just the theology at the church. So I'm assuming that to a very basic, limited knowledge that they can be like, but from my understanding of it, what I've been told throughout my life of being a Catholic, is that the church doesn't just jump on, there's an exorcism that needs to be conducted here. It's almost like they hardly ever do it, and it's more like a last resort.
They're more prone to not do an exorcism.
Yes. Especially because the ones that have happened then get involved in legal battles and disputes like that. So I think the church mostly does it now to protect themselves more than anything. To be like, we're not going to jump and say that this needs an exorcism.
I just think that if the podcasting thing doesn't work out, you and I would make a really good exorcism team, right?
That's what we got to fill the hole that was left when the Warrens passed away. We got to be the new demonologists.
And you and I would come in and we would do such a good cop, bad cop with demons.
To the demons.
But it's not what you'd think, because you would be the bad cop and I would be the good cop. Because I'm like, hey, listen, demon, I get it. I'm a sinner, all right? I get it. And then he'd be like, but
and I'm coming in with my
doesn't.
I'm coming in with my special issue Bible, and I'm like, get the fuck out of him, you son of a bitch.
Whoa, take a walk. Listen, if you just get out of the kid, all right, everything's gonna work out. I'm sure we can find you a nice man who's almost gonna die anyway. I'll tell you what.
I'll send you to hell, demon. Get the hell out of here.
Jose, relax. You jump into an old man. You just keep
fight the kid. I'll beat the fuck out of him. I'll beat the demon out of him. I'll beat him out of him.
Seriously, you're just punching a 10-year-old.
Jose, no, stop. We're gonna go to jail if you don't stop. So, but then a lesser exorcism, like the ones mentioned here, most likely refers to prayers of deliverance, which can be performed by anyone, and it is just exactly what it sounds like, where you're saying, like, you know, like you're asking for help, kind of.
Right, which is important to mention that Ed Warren or Lorraine, neither of them were ordained priests.
No, I believe
they say
I've
that
heard.
in the movies.
Yeah, I've heard, and I don't know. I should have done research into this. I've heard that he was. There's some people out there that say that he was recognized by the Catholic Church as the only individual besides them who could perform an exorcism, but I don't know if that's true. So I would take that with a grain of salt.
They make a real point to talk about it in the movies too. That he's not qualified.
They did work closely with the church, especially on cases like this. They had good relations.
Respected, outside opinion. But he was not qualified to do a full-on exorcism. But I mean, we do see that in the Conjuring 3. They start off with him doing almost an exorcism,
which would have been the lesser exorcism. Yeah,
it doesn't go well, and then they call in an actual priest, basically.
And I just wanted to so that we kind of know what that means, because I was like, that's interesting. What is a lesser exorcism anyway? So The Warrens claimed that over the 3 major exorcisms that then occurred afterwards that were actually overseen by priests, David would go on to levitate, curse, and even stop breathing. But the most...
That's not that hard. I can stop breathing whenever I want.
What? How do you do it? Mason, no.
See? I just did it. It's not... It's
And then
super
you start
easy.
levitating.
Well, that'd be not good.
God, I fucking would love that.
It would be super cool. Actually, I would be totally...
I would,
cool
even if...
with that,
I've
'cause
always said this, that even if I could just levitate, like, 3 inches off the ground, I would fucking love it because it would just freak people out. Like, I would just be
I
like...
was just talking about being possessed by a demon.
And I'd be like, what's up now? And they're like,
You.
What
you
are you-
are.
how you
About
doing that?
6 inches off the ground, you're up. And it's... Honestly, it's impressive, but also kind of stupid.
it's kind of stupid. What are you going to do with that, Jose? I'm just going to get places faster.
You know what I
'cause
would...
can
Honestly,
glide,
if you levitated
so.
in front of me, you know what my first reaction would be
Mm-hmm.
is to push you as hard as I can because I want to see if you can still fall over while levitating. You know what I mean? I want to see what your balance... what, like a levitating person's balance is
I just
like.
fucking fall hard,
Like,
very
what are
hard.
like, what are the physics of someone... You know what I mean? Of
Yeah,
someone who's
I imagine
levitating?
you got to be able to fall really easily if you're levitating, right? I don't know.
I don't know. Or do you just move? Do you just float backwards?
Whoa! Just
It's
tumbling
like
in
zero
space.
G and you
Yeah.
just don't stop. You
I'm
just
like,
have
no,
to
Mason,
wait
now.
till-
I'm holding onto your ceiling. I'm like, help, get me down. I don't know how to get down. The Warrens, so they claim that this happened, right? But the most important part of their claims is that David would go on to predict or prophesize the murder that would occur by the hands of Arne Johnson.
Tom Brady is gonna go to the Bucks and win a Super Bowl. That'll
And Ed
never
Warren
happen. He's
splash,
a patriot
yeah,
for
he
life.
splashes him with blasphemy, blasphemy.
Tom would never split a Belichick. He's a system quarterback.
No, just watch.
I'm sorry. So he predicted the real murder that happened.
Yeah, so I don't know exactly what it was that he said, but I guess that in that case he predicted that a tragedy would happen and that a murder would happen by Arnie's hands. So then in October of 1980, Lorraine Warren...
Can I ask?
Yeah.
Did Ed have a heart attack?
No,
During
I didn't
this
see anything
exorcism?
that said that he had a heart attack then. I know that he did suffer a heart attack at some point, but I don't think it
Okay.
was while in this case. Mhm.
Okay.
So in October of 1980, Lorraine Warren, who, for those of you who don't know, claimed to be clairvoyant, would contact the Brookfield Police Department and warn them that the situation was only becoming more dangerous and something bad and sinister was going to occur soon. So she did do this. She did call the cops beforehand and was like, y'all got to be on the lookout because something bad's going to happen. Whether or not she was just saying that, but...
Well, that certainly adds a piece to
a
this,
slip,
for sure.
yeah. So according to eyewitness testimony by the Warrens, Debbie Glatzel, and other members of the Glatzel family, Arnie would go on to coerce one of the demons within David, as Lorraine had estimated that there could be up to 40 demons possessing the boy, to possess him during one of the exorcisms. He would tell it,
Take me on, leave my little... It doesn't really work. Take me on, leave my little buddy alone, which also... It's an exorcism, and you're being like, leave my little
it's the
buddy
80s,
alone.
and they live in Connecticut. I don't know. Report,
Leave him alone, you son of a bitch.
and he's slapping the shit out of the kid. Get out of him! They're like, Arnie, no, you are still hitting an 11-year-old. Stop. You're not
Son
hitting
of
the
a
actual
bitch.
demon.
He's not my little buddy anymore. He's a devil.
Reportedly, a few days after this incident, Johnson claimed to have been viciously attacked by the demon while driving his truck, causing him to crash into a tree. Johnson was unharmed. However, after this, he returned to the rental property and visited an old well that reportedly housed the demon, as this was where David had claimed to have first encountered the entity he described as an old man. I will say this. I'm confused on this, right? Because a lot of sources had this old well part of it, and that this is where he first encountered the old man. But then other sources said that the waterbed was where he first had like an interaction with this force. And if
maybe
there was
the
up to
first-
40 demons, I wonder if this is maybe this is where he specifically.
There was a waterbed demon, and there was a well demon.
Yeah. Well, no, I genuinely I wonder if
armchair demon.
Yeah.
There was the lamp demon. There was that one popsicle demon, but he ate him. Which it's like, did that mean he got possessed?
That's
from
how he got
the popsicle
possessed.
Demon? Or did that destroy the popsicle demon because that was his vessel?
Well, Mr.
honest.
Warren, you are the expert. You tell us.
I'm just asking questions here, people. Okay. Yeah. So I would be Ed, right, and you'd be Lorraine, because I would just. Be
I
like,
guess.
fucking,
Yeah.
Let's fucking fight this fucking demon, and it's like you're just
And
like,
I
no,
would be
miss,
like-
you can't punch it. I'm like, yeah, the fuck I can.
Yeah. We.
And you'd be
There's
like,
a
and you'd
there's
just
a
be sitting in
poster
the
idea
corner.
for you. It's you and me as Ed and just our faces on their
Yeah.
bodies. Yeah.
I'm just imagining you're just sitting there with your like heads on your fingers and
Yeah.
you're like,
And I'm recreating. No, well, haven't you seen the movies? I'd be recreating stabbing someone like she does in that
oh,
scene.
that's right. Yes. Yeah.
So, reportedly, Arnie saw the demon in the well, who then fully possessed him until after the murder. The Warrens claimed they had warned Arnie against doing so, against going to the well, but he ignored their warnings. As David's condition worsened, Debbie and Arnie decided it was time for them to move out and got their own place, in Brookfield.
Hey, Debbie, I'm gonna be completely honest with you.
I don't think your brother's gonna get better.
I just don't. Well, it seems like a bad time to leave because
Yeah,
so
but
much
like,
trouble and
I'm gonna be
I
honest
just
with you.
don't really. Oh, watch out for your microphone there, Arnie.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh,
I'm gonna be honest with you, Debbie.
yeah.
I just don't think we're gonna get a chance to fuck with your little brother fucking crawling up and down the walls all the time.
I'm gonna be honest. It's kind of hard to be in the mood when there is a demon child running around.
Really? Because that makes me more in the mood. I don't know. Maybe that's okay. No, hey, that's all right. You're just my wife, and it's the '80s, so you got to do what I say. Sorry, I don't.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm that guy. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, Arnie, no. So, they decided it was time for them to move out, and they got their own place in Brookfield. Debbie had recently been hired by 40-year-old Alan Bono, a resident who was new to the town, as a dog groomer, and the couple found a place near Debbie's job. I will admit that I'm confused on this detail, as some sources claim Bono was Debbie and Arnie's landlord, while others don't bring this detail up at all. So he could have been their landlord and also her boss.
in the movie, that's what it was.
Yeah, in the movie, because they lived
above
but
the
that's
thing.
but I guess in
Yeah.
real life that wasn't the case. They lived close to it, but I wonder if he still was the
Well,
landlord.
that's what I was saying. Is
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
I
don't know. I don't know why.
They do
I'm just
change his
saying,
name in the
yeah.
movie to Bruno Sauls, I believe, who's not a real person. He's based on Alan Bono.
Well, that's because being like Bono would be confusing because
Well, yeah,
the U2
yes,
guy.
that's who I kept thinking
I
as
don't
I was
know if-
writing. But also,
yeah.
I think they changed it because he was a real man who got killed, and so they were like, maybe let's change his name. Well, anyway,
potato.
potato. After moving in, Arnie would begin to exhibit strange behavior that was very similar to David's. This would cause Debbie to fear that Arnie had become possessed as well.
Can you just imagine his head doing 360s and she's just like, oh, I'm starting to worry you're also maybe possessed.
Just fucking
Oh,
spitting
no.
bile and shit everywhere. She's
I'm
like,
gonna give this a few days to think about though, cause, or maybe I don't know. Then again, also it's like I would be like, oh no, I don't know what to do. I
well,
guess
yeah.
I'm gonna go.
I
To
assume
bed.
that it was like the beginning behaviors, where like
yeah,
he was
but also
having
it's just, like,
nightmares and
even if it
waking
was
up and.
full on.
Yeah, no, I would be
possession,
like,
it's just
who do I
like,
go
what
to?
do you-
Well, I guess I would more likely. I don't know.
I'm just gonna be like, I'm gonna go to bed. Are you staying up? Oh, cool. Okay, turn the TV off. I'm just gonna go to bed.
If there's almond milk in the fridge, if you need any.
I'm just gonna.
Okay, all right.
I'm just gonna lock that. Okay, you stay out there tonight.
So,
Right.
according to Debbie, Arnie would fall into a trance-like state where he would growl deeply and hallucinate, but then have no recollection of any of it happening. Hey, man, that's
he's
just me on a
just
Saturday night.
I think he's just.
You got a couple
taking
drinks in me,
LSD.
I'm like, and then I wake up the next day, I'm like, I don't know what happened.
Well, actually, more accurately, the next morning after drinking, I'm more just like.
Yeah, people ask me things, and I'm like,
I'm sorry. I can't even. I was just thinking about, like, what would be, like, somehow I want to eat an entire breakfast platter, but also, like, that's going to make me feel worse.
yeah,
I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. I think you're possessed.
I listen, I've got a few demons. I've got a breakfast demon. I've got a gin demon.
I've got a few demons, and
mostly just those two. Or just mostly just a breakfast and a gin demon. It's like, what if you made like 6 eggs and then like mixed a bunch of cheese into it and then ate it? I'm like, I shouldn't do that because it's 6 eggs. And
come
that's
on,
too many
do
eggs.
it.
And then the other was like, oh, so you could have like a gin and tonic while you eat your eggs.
And
And
you're
I'm
like,
that seems like my heart won't be able to handle that. And it's like, that's good cholesterol. And it's like, that doesn't exist. Anyway.
Man, I want to meet your demons. They sound like fun guys.
It's just me. I think I'm fully possessed, Jose. They're just my personality.
So Arne worked as a tree surgeon with Right Tree
I
Service.
want to give you pushback on that shitty fucking title. You don't get to call yourself
It's funny that they're called tree surgeons. You're chopping
they
down
don't get
trees.
to call themselves that.
No.
Fuck you. No. You don't get to call yourself a tree surgeon because you cut branches off of trees. You're a fucking tree guy.
You're a tree
asshole.
groomer, if anything.
You get to be, I'll upgrade you to groomer when you stop being an asshole and calling yourself a fucking surgeon. That's annoying. I don't go around being like, I'm a fucking artist. Yeah. I don't fucking do that because that's a douchey thing to do. Don't go around saying you're a tree surgeon. You cut branches off of trees. It's not fucking surgery.
I'm an audio specialist.
Yeah. It's not exactly brain surgery,
No.
is it?
I'm a
tree
podcast
surgery, you
surgeon.
dickhead.
I'm a story surgeon.
Yeah, I really cut him. Really just fucking, and then cut to him. Just like, it's off. I got it. Let's move on to the next one.
So he would call in sick on February 16, 1981, which, for those of you who watch the movie, differs because in the movie he is sick at work. He just, I guess, didn't show. They called in sick that day and didn't go. He didn't almost kill anybody with a chainsaw. By all accounts, that didn't happen.
But also, if you haven't seen the movie and you're confused by that, he didn't attack someone with a chainsaw.
He dropped it, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because he was a demon.
A demon boy. He joined Debbie at the kennel along with his sisters Wanda and Janice, and Debbie's 9-year-old cousin Mary. So Wanda was 15 and Janice was 13, and Mary was 9. Bono insisted on taking the group out for lunch at a local bar where he proceeded to drink heavily. Afterwards, the group returned to the kennel and had a pretty uneventful afternoon. At some point, Debbie took the girls for pizza, and Arne and Bono stayed behind drinking and chatting. It is reported that the two were friendly with one another and never seemed to have any indication of contention against the other. Debbie was suddenly seized with a feeling of dread and that they needed to return. So, when the girls returned, Bono was incredibly intoxicated and had become agitated, as Debbie insisted to Arne that they take the girls home. At this point, Bono grabbed the youngest of the girls, Mary, and refused to let her go. Arne returned from the car and ordered Bono to let the girl go, but Bono would not budge as Mary tried to pull away from him. At this point, an argument broke out and Mary slipped free and ran for the car.
So this is just... Bono's behavior is just what I can only describe in the 80s as fun uncle. He's giving off, like, fun uncle vibes, where it's like, I'm gonna drink, and then everybody's getting food, and then it gets weird, and you go home, and everyone's just like,
where
at the
like
end, fun Uncle Bono, where, like, he gets weird.
Yeah, he's
like,
fun,
okay.
and then at the end, he's like, come sit on my lap, and you're like, I don't want to sit on your lap.
Oh, did you think, was this a molesty thing? I thought he was just like,
no,
we're having fun, nobody's leaving.
I don't know, I took it more as, I don't know if it was a molesty thing, I just took it as, like, for me, it does remind me of some of my uncles, where they start the evening kind of fun and loose or whatever, and then by the end of it, they're like, fuck you! You're not getting out of here! No! Nobody's leaving! And they're like...
alcoholic, then it's like... Like
just
he's
sad,
like, I don't want the fun
man.
times to end,
so
I have to continue what was happening in the fun times, not realizing the difference is you're much more shit-faced than you were when it was the fun time.
Right. Yeah, perhaps. At this point, an argument broke out, and Mary slipped free and ran for the car. Wanda then proceeded to try to pull Arne back. She says that he was like a stone and that she couldn't budge him. As Debbie stepped in between the two men to try to mitigate things, Wanda could hear Arne growling like an animal. And at around 6:30 p.m., Arne drew a 5-inch pocket knife and pointed it at Bono. It's still very funny that I'm saying Bono because I know it's Alan Bono, but I keep thinking of Bono from U2.
I can only picture Bono with his little sunglasses.
What happened next, according to Debbie and Wanda, was a flash. Bono was stabbed multiple times in the chest and stomach. According to Johnson's lawyer, Bono had suffered 4 or 5 tremendous wounds, mostly to his chest, and one that stretched from his stomach to the base of his heart. Arne then proceeded to walk into the woods while staring straight ahead, as Bono stood there punching his palm for a long moment before falling face first into the ground.
Punching his, like
he was kind of like... Yeah, like he just kind of did that for like a moment, and then he just like... And like... Yeah. I don't know. Must have been like a pain thing, I imagine. And apparently, I guess I also read, I don't know if I included it in here, I also read that the cuts seem to be half crescent moon shaped. Almost all of them. Or sorry, not half crescent moon shaped. Which also just sounds like it could have been the stabbing pattern.
Well, yeah,
of just
I was
like
gonna
that,
say,
but
that just sounds like
I don't know.
That just sounds like how you get stabbed.
What were you going to say, though? I think I cut you off.
I just think, I don't know. So I haven't heard this story of the real life story, and it's a lot more like Arne just fucking stabbed a dude.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know what I mean?
But again,
it's honestly,
and
it's much less believable that it was a demon based on the surrounding events.
But I get that. But I also don't think that Bono was quite so fun uncle. It seemed like he was really intoxicated, and I understand that intoxication definitely led
Yeah, the
to
fun
it.
uncle thing was just a joke. But
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like he was being a real piece of shit.
But
and
no,
Arne
I
was
agree though. It does
upset
kind of
with
just
it.
the movie certainly makes it seem a lot more like.
Not to mention, I mean, this is just okay. So this is all just me being guessing, but we don't also know what they talked about while they were gone, while the girls were gone.
Yeah.
What if he said something fucking weird and then he was just, I don't know. I
Yeah,
mean,
and we'll get to that because there's a little bit of that
I'm
in
a-
here in a second.
I feel like I'm the type of guy that if I were to stab someone, people would be like, I didn't think Mason would ever stab somebody. But also, it's like, I think I'm going to stab somebody a lot. So, like, maybe that's just how it happens sometimes.
Yeah. So it seems that the movie did get this next part right, as Arne was discovered walking on the side of the road 2 miles away, seemingly in a haze, and when he was stopped, he simply said, "I think I hurt someone," which is exactly what he says in the movie. This would be the first reported killing in the 193-year history of Brookfield, Connecticut. The police seemingly did not think much of the killing, believing that the incident had occurred either over an argument about Debbie or just as Police Chief John Anderson deemed it,
Not an unusual crime. Somebody got angry. An argument resulted. And a little bit of the stabby, daddy resulted from the argument.
Yeah, I like how very kind of nonchalant he is about this. I don't know, people got mad and they fucking killed somebody.
Listen. If I had a nickel for every time I had to cover up a police officer murdering his bitch wife, I'd have enough nickels to hire a new fucking police officer that didn't stab his bitch wife. You know what I'm saying?
Sorry, Chief,
yes,
could you repeat that again?
With the fedora and the little press slip in your
Thank you.
fedora? What? Yes, what?
Could you repeat that again? Did you say you covered up crimes for cops?
I simply said that if I had a nickel for every time that I saw an officer stab his bitch wife and then we had to cover up that bitch wife because of an argument, I'd have enough nickels to hire an officer who didn't have a bitch wife. Any other questions?
Oh boy. No.
Yes?
I think
No.
just a cab.
Okay.
I think is what we're gonna say to that.
Oh. Well, that hurts my feelings. I don't like that.
A day after the
Why
murder.
would you say that to me? I don't understand
What
all
did
this
I do?
hate. All I did was say that I covered up. Okay, yeah, you get it.
A day after the murder, Lorraine Warren informed the Brookfield PD that Arne was possessed during the killing. A media blitz soon surrounded the case, fueled in part, some say, by the Warrens, whose agents promised that lectures, a book, and even a movie were in the works. Martin Minella, Arne's lawyer, would receive calls from all over the world over what had now been deemed the demon murder case.
So their agent really did. I mean, see, that's one thing that bothers me about the Laurens already.
Yeah.
Is that they fucking have an agent. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like, and
Yes.
some people are gonna be like, well, they had to make a living. It's like, yeah.
Which
they
is, yes,
did,
understandable, but I don't know. Because then, yeah.
It's a little suspect.
It is a little sus that almost immediately their agent's like, we got lectures, we got a book, and a movie. Don't even fucking worry about it.
Hey,
He's like,
Lorraine.
maybe wait a year, bud.
Lorraine, call him and say that it was a demon. Call him, yeah, do it.
Hello?
Yeah, do it.
This is Lorraine Warren.
Yeah, say
You know that guy who killed the guy? Yeah. It was the devil. Okay, now you have a good one. This is Lorraine Warren, by the way. Sorry, did I say that? Yeah. And you'll be hearing from our agents soon. Okay, bye. Now let's get back to the freaky
Johnny
stuff, Ed.
Cakes, baby, listen, it's me. I'm the Warrens. I'm the Warrens agent. I'm just calling to tell you what an opportunity we have here. I mean, I'm talking T-shirts. Okay, here's what I'm thinking. Shirt, right? I went to Arne Johnson's demon murder trial, and all I got was this stupid T-shirt.
Oh, that's very good.
Huh?
That's very good.
All
I like that.
need from
Okay.
your police officers is just maybe be like you guys, you know? Just, you gotta be real. Be like, oh, there can't be a demon. You gotta give that pushback for my clients. For Ed and Lorraine, they're gonna come back at you. You know what I mean?
You think I could get one of those shirts?
I think we can get you. I think we can get you a shirt. What are you with? XXX?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll do that then.
Yeah.
So, Arnie's lawyer, right, he got calls from all over the world about this, and almost immediately the media dubbed it the demon murder case.
Was his lawyer just like a family lawyer? Was it like court appointed?
I'm not sure, though. I didn't see
Okay,
details
that's
on that.
okay,
I
too.
assume, though, that he wasn't court appointed. So he must have been like a family lawyer or something like that.
Gotcha. Well, also it's a small town.
Or
so
just
they
a
probably
local
had,
lawyer, yeah.
They had like 2 lawyers in there. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So it seems that after conversations with Arnie, Debbie, and the Warrens, Minella would travel to England to meet with lawyers who had been involved in 2 similar cases, though neither went to trial. As seen in the film, Arnie's defense team would submit the plea of not guilty by virtue of demonic possession. But unlike the film, the very famous line of,
The courts have dealt with the existence of God, and now they're going to have to deal with the existence of the devil.
was actually uttered by Martin Minella to the New York Times in 1981 and not by Ed Warren. Over the course of the trial, the Warrens and Minella were mocked and lambasted by their peers who called them profiteers of tragedy. Mentalist George Krieg, who was, I believe, known as the Amazing Kriegston or something like that, he said this.
They have an excellent vaudeville act, a good road show. It's just that this case more involves clinical psychologists than it does what I call spooky, ghosty demon boys.
Lorraine Warren would tell the Courant,
Me and my husband work closely with church officials and view demonology as an extension of theology. It would be defeating our purpose if we did anything deceitful or dishonest.
Again.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was that a cash register? Sure, let me just close
this is
that.
here's the thing, right?
Oh,
I do believe.
It's got so much money in it. I just can't close. Oh no!
God damn it, Lorraine, let me do it. God. I do believe that the Warrens genuinely believed in what they were doing, and to them they really did think that they were doing this, where they were sort of pushing theology, and that to do something deceitful would hurt their purpose. I think they believed that, but at the same time, it goes back to the agent thing, right? How are you going to really set out to do the work, again, I understand, like you said, I understand the people that are like, well, they had to.
Yeah. Well, so I get it too, because it's like on my, it's like. I think it would be very easy as a demon hunter. I think they really did believe. I really do think they believed what they were doing, and I think an agent just came up to him one day and was like,
yes,
you're doing everything right. But would it really
Yeah.
be so bad if you just made a little green
Right.
off of
I
it,
think
too?
that's
You know what I mean?
because again, in that thing that we talked about earlier, it said that it was their agent who was like, "Don't worry, we got a book, we got a lecture series, we got this coming out."
Yes.
It wasn't the Warrens who were like, "Don't worry, we've." So
And that's not, and I don't say that to free the Warrens up from
No,
this responsibility either. I'm just saying that I don't inherently think that, I don't think they were fraudsters all making
Right.
everything up just for show. I think they legitimately
they
believed in
genuinely
their own
believed,
stuff,
yeah.
but that doesn't mean what they did was right either.
Right.
So,
So as jury selection was set to begin in late October, reporters and believers in the supernatural flocked to Danbury for what was dubbed the Demon Murder Trial. The local Hilton Hotel was completely booked for nights, and people worried that the courtroom, which would hold 70 people packed shoulder to shoulder, wouldn't be big enough. Many believed that the plea of demonic possession would be used to prove insanity, but Manila was set on proving the existence of demons and bringing in the priest who exorcised David Glatzel. Ed Warren would be quoted as saying,
the value of this case is that people who are truly under demonic possession will be able to go into a court of law and have that jury and that judge be much more understanding.
Judge Robert Callahan would ultimately reject the defense's plea, arguing that such a defense would be impossible to prove and that any testimony on the matter was unscientific and thus irrelevant.
Can I ask real quick,
Mm-hmm.
when was this relating to the Satanic Panic?
This would have been right during that time because Satanic
the
Panic
height
was
of
like
it? Okay.
1980s, yeah.
Well, it's interesting that so many people flock to this. It's like, on one hand, it's like, oh man, we just haven't changed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But also, it's interesting. I just want to know if, like, I don't know. Satanic Panic is one of the most interesting.
It is, and I was going to bring that up. Yeah, I think that's part of what helped,
Brought
and
everybody
the
there,
Warrens were, active for more than just the 80s, but I think that's part of what also helped them and people like them was the Satanic Panic.
Well, that's fair, yeah.
Prosecutor Walter D. Flanagan and police stuck with their simple explanation that Bono had made an obscene remark about Debbie, and Arne and Bono tussled before Bono was stabbed by Arne. The case would lose its media luster by the third day, as most reporters who came from all over the country to report on the case would leave.
Do you think there was a couple that the guy was just like, honey, this is the case of the century. It's going to be crazy. We got to get there. We're staying there. I booked us a week in Brookville. It's going to be great. Listen, I know we're not going to be able to go to the Bahamas this year, but this is going to be our vacation. It's going to be well worth it. And then just that third day is just like,
Let's get the fuck out of here.
so, can't go to the Bahamas anymore for this, huh?
Honey, you just gotta wait.
I just think it's funny that NBC left.
NBC, they're a bunch of
Fox
liars.
is gone.
Well,
CNN just left.
but
CNBC.
the media is the
MSNBC,
true enemy of the
NPR.
people, honey. You gotta know that.
So,
I can make you a little drink and put a little umbrella in it, and I can be like whoosh, whoosh, and you'll think you're in the Bahamas.
You can do that in this courtroom. You have a cocktail.
No,
shaker
we
and
would
stuff.
have to wait until we got back into the hotel room.
And that'd be in 8 hours because these are like.
Well, maybe 10. I don't know. I think they've got a surprise witness, so it's kind of eating up.
I'm taking the children.
No.
Yeah.
So the prosecution, they made this.
No punchline of that. They got a divorce.
They got a divorce, guys. It's not funny. A waitress testified that she had served 3 carafes of red wine to the 2 men, who were with Deborah Glatzel and other family members at the Mug and Munch Cafe on the afternoon of the stabbing. Don't like that name. But also,
Don't like that name.
these guys just got interesting guys on wine.
Red wine sauced? Yeah, that
Yeah.
is weird because in the movie they're like listening to like heavy rock.
Yeah,
and, like,
but
drinking
also,
beers.
like, so who are these posh guys living in fucking Brooksfield, Connecticut?
I can't. Well, I mean, one was Bono.
Well, that's true, right?
Bono does strike me as a red
Yeah.
wine guy. I don't know, but that is very. I thought that was weird too that they were getting like sloshed on red wine in the middle of the
Yeah.
day.
What the fuck is up with that?
Yeah, that's weird.
Bono's like, I'm a real man, Arnie. Can I get a red, please? Do you have, I don't know, Arnie, what are you
Cabernet?
thinking? Yeah. Do you?
What about a Merlot?
Ooh, a Merlot. And fucking. Anyway, like I was saying, Arnie, I'm a badass motherfucker, right? Yeah. So, and then also Mug and Munch.
Ugh. I
Don't
don't
like
like the
it.
word munch.
Munch is kind of iffy, yeah. The Hartford Courant reported that the ambulance driver testified that Glatzel and her father were standing near the body. Glatzel, who appeared distraught and said repeatedly,
Oh, Daddy, he didn't mean to. You know how he gets when he's been drinking.
The police officer testified that Glatzel's brother Carl, who will come up again, told him Cheyenne did it, who was Arnie. Despite Callahan's banning of the demon defense, Manella attempted to put 4 priests on the stand. Callahan wouldn't allow it. Ed Warren was relegated
All
to...
right, Your Honor. I call to the stand Father Ted Johnson.
No.
Ted, take the... Oh.
No.
All right. Okay. All right. Hey. I
Jeez,
get it.
man.
I get it. I call.
Okay, thank you.
To the stand. Father Bill Calhoun. Bill, get up.
No! God damn it. Manella, no. We're not doing the demon defense.
We're
No.
not doing the demon. I'm sorry. I was confused.
Jeez.
I was confused. Okay. So next, this time, sorry again.
yeah.
I just have to apologize. I call to the stand Father Tim O'Reilly. Tim, get
Son
up
of a
there, tell
bitch,
him-
Manella. No!
What's wrong?
You do it one more time, I swear to God, I'll hold you in contempt of this court. Who's your next witness?
I call to the stand. I call to the stand. A father of children, Fred Kennedy.
Okay, Fred, come on up. Fred, can I ask you, what's your line of work?
Yeah, Your Honor, I think I can actually take this one as his lawyer. I mean, I called him. I'm not his lawyer. I think I can take this one. Fred is he's a kind of a guru.
Fred, I like the style you've got going on. The black shirt, the black, or the white little collar. Where have I seen that? Where
I
have I
can
seen
actually
that?
take this one too, Your Honor. I don't think you need to ask him any questions right now. I think let's just focus the questions on
yeah.
He is actually from, have you ever been to Morocco?
Get him off the goddamn stand right now,
I'm just saying,
Manella.
So he's got 2 daughters. And
He's got a fucking cross around his neck.
Is it illegal to to wear a cross?
The cross says,
It's a
Big Dick
T?
Father.
It's a T? Well, that's actually a thing that maybe we should look at later, but he's a father, and he's the T. That's a T, not a cross. It's a T, and it stands for Totally Rad Dad, because he's a dad.
You son of a bitch, Manella. I think you're so smooth. God damn you. So, he wouldn't let him get the 4 priests up there, right? So then Ed Warren was relegated to being a character witness who took the stand for only a few minutes, saying that Johnson was, quote,
quiet and considerate, and that it is very hard to believe he could have murdered anyone.
before he then reluctantly stepped down.
Also, I just should say that I met him for a total of 15 minutes. So, seems like a guy who wouldn't murder a guy. I don't know.
I'd have a beer with him. As long as he doesn't have a knife in his pocket. Hey, come on. That was in poor taste. Yeah, I understand that now. Yeah, sorry. Interestingly enough, the priest who had assisted with David Glatzel's exorcisms and had talked very publicly about their involvement suddenly only acknowledged that they had helped David through, quote, a difficult time, and were reportedly ordered not to speak on the matter publicly. So this is Reverend Nicholas V. Grieco, a diocese spokesman of the local diocese, and this is what he said.
No one from the church has said one way or another what was involved. And also we'll decline to say. We won't say ever. We won't. Ask me. You ask me with the press at you.
Yeah, what happened?
We won't tell you.
Oh.
It's a secret.
Oh, wow, he really meant
Uh-oh.
that. Okay. Johnson.
Now we've got a few. Oh, you'll find out in a few years.
It'll be a great movie with Mark Ruffalo in it, he said. Johnson's lawyers were permitted... I never saw it. I don't know. I heard it was good. What was it called?
Spotlight.
Johnson's lawyers were permitted to examine Bono's clothing. The lack of any blood, rips, or tears, they argue, could support the claim of demonic involvement.
Okay, so do you know what that's about? Like, it didn't actually have any blood on it? Because that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that's about. Again, you would think that these sources would have delved more into it, but they were all kind of like, isn't that crazy? Anyway. No, I don't know. I wonder if maybe it was just...
Because, yeah, I mean, I'd say that's impossible.
Because the cuts were... Yeah, he still would have bled because they were under his ribs, most of them. And then there was the one from the base of his stomach from the bottom of his stomach to the base of his heart. So, yeah, you'd think that he would have...
I mean, yeah, there's no way there wasn't blood.
Yeah.
So, I mean, okay.
Yeah, but, however, no one in the court was convinced.
Also, wasn't Arnie found covered in blood?
I don't know if he actually was covered in blood. I don't know if
Okay.
that's a detail that the movie just added.
Okay.
Thwarted from using his unprecedented defense, Manella went another route, self-defense. Johnson would testify on his own behalf and say that Bono had started the argument but couldn't remember what had happened afterwards. The state, interestingly enough, never established a motive, with Flanagan simply saying that Arnie, quote,
did what he wanted to do.
When he stabbed Bono. Flanagan's closing argument was that the number...
you get late at night, you have a few beers, you do what you want to do. You eat some chicken tenders. Arnie got into an argument, he did what he wanted to do. And stabbed him 6 times. So...
Anyway,
right?
I'm apparently not that great of a prosecutor, because I didn't even come up with a motive. So
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I'm actually getting a call from Los Angeles. They want me to prosecute this new football player, apparently, about a murder. Oh, I'm sure it'll go just as well as this one.
So Flanagan's closing argument was that the number and depth of the wounds showed Arnie intended to kill. After deliberating...
His closing argument was, look, he was gonna do it.
Yeah.
He was gonna do what he's gonna do.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know what they say. They say Arne Johnson's gonna Arne Johnson. He's gonna do him. That's what everybody says. That's what he did, so I don't know. Guilty?
Guilty? I don't know.
Judge, I got this one. Give me your tiny hammer.
No, get the fuck
Guilty.
out. God damn it.
You banged it.
No, I didn't.
You banged it.
God,
I
I am
wanged
the
it.
judge here. Everybody stop pushing over me.
Tom Flanagan. He bings it, I ding it. I'm drunk.
Oh, I'm going to stab the judge. After deliberating... After deliberating for 17 hours over 3 days, the jury convicted Johnson of manslaughter, not murder, on November 24th, 1981. One of the jury's last requests was for a transcript of testimony of the policeman who found Arnie, and it said that he had told them, I think I hurt someone. Manella vowed to appeal on the grounds that he was barred from using the demon defense, but never did. Arnie was given the maximum sentence of 10 to 20 years, but was released early after only serving just over 4 years at the Connecticut Correctional Institute in Summers. He was 24 when he was released.
Manila being like, I swear on my last breath I'll get this an appeal. And the door's closed and he's just like, oh, thank fuck that's over.
Yeah.
I'm going home.
Going home, I'm
Do you think maybe 5 years later he was like reading a book and he was just like,
oh no.
fuck.
Yeah, that's definitely what happened. But yeah, so this is different from the movie because I walked away from and I knew that we had to do this case when I watched the movie, and I walked away, and at the end it had the title screen and it said like, Arnie was sentenced to only 5 years of manslaughter or whatever. And that's when I was like, we got to do a case on this because I'm like, that kind of
pretty crazy for.
I was like, because that makes it
someone 6 times
Yeah.
with witnesses.
Yeah, but I was like, the fact that the movie sort of implies that the demon defense works, because the movie never says that the demon defense was thrown out. And then he says that he got only 5 years for manslaughter. That's when I was like, we got to do this case because that can't be exactly what happened. And sure enough, he was sentenced to 10 to 20 years, and he got out early for good behavior, and he served just 4 years, and then he was let out on parole. The couple lived in Sherman and had 2 sons and 2 grandsons. After being released, Arnie would settle into a quiet life. Ed Warren would tell the Associated Press at the time, he would tell them this.
Possession doesn't last 24 hours a day. It comes quickly and leaves quickly. Arnie understands what happened to him. He now knows, if something happens, how to ward it off, and he won't be stupid enough to take on the devil again.
Debbie would go on to say that Arnie's mistake was taking on the beast that had possessed her younger brother. She, quote, said,
"You never take that step. You never challenge the devil. Arnie started showing the same signs my brother did when he was under possession."
Manella, who lives in Middlebury, continued to stand by Johnson's case. He would say in an interview that he heard the tapes of David Glatzel speaking the names of 42 demons in Latin, and that the Brookfield police chief was going to testify that he saw the child levitate.
If you believe in God, you gotta believe in the devil. That's just the thing I say. Anyway, remember when I said that? Copyright, Manila. And what I saw in young Arnie, and Arnie was a young guy, has profoundly affected me for the rest of my life. There's a lot of crazy people out there that have contacted me to represent them with the same idea. The devil made me do it. Is that idea? I should clarify. But our case was based in fact, not in fiction. Unlike those other cases are fiction cases, this one was a fact case. Facts. The devil made him do it. Facts. I'm Ted Manila. I forgot my
Martin
first name.
Manila. Manila, not Manila.
I'm Timmy. I'm Milli Vanilli.
Yes.
Here
Gerald-
to tell you, good luck.
Gerald Brittle would go on to publish a book with a contribution of the Warrens on the case called The Devil in Connecticut, and a movie starring Kevin Bacon and Andy Griffith was released based on the case as well, titled The Demon Murder Case. However...
Andy Griffith with Kevin
Yeah,
Bacon?
interesting, huh?
Andy Griffith from the Andy Griffith Show?
Yeah,
I don't know if I've ever seen him do, like, serious acting.
I don't know. However, the middle Glatzel child, Carl, was not amused. In 2006, when the book was republished, Carl and David sued Brittle and Lorraine, as Ed had actually passed away that same year, alleging that it violated their rights to privacy and it was an intentional affliction of emotional stress. He would take a step further and claim that the whole thing was a hoax concocted by the Warrens who took advantage of his brother's mental health for money. David, however, stayed quiet during the whole affair and never publicly said anything about the whole ordeal. Carl would go on to say, quote,
My brother was never possessed. He, along with my family, was manipulated and exploited, something the Warrens were very good at. And along with their author, Jared Brittle, with his weak-ass bones, they concocted a phony story about demons in an attempt to get rich and famous at our expense. And we have the evidence to prove it.
He would say that in an interview. He also asserted that the Warrens told him the story would make the family millionaires and would get Johnson out of jail. According to Carl Glatzel, the publicity generated by the incident forced him to drop out of school and lose friends and business opportunities. In 2007, he began writing a book titled Alone Through the Valley, about his version of the events surrounding his brother. Lorraine Warren defended her work with the family, saying that 6 priests who were involved in the incident agreed at the time that the boy was possessed and that the supernatural events she described were real. Brittle...
Miss Warren,
Yes?
question. How many of those 6 priests molested a child?
I don't... Who?
How many of them, though? Well, it just seems like maybe if they would be more prone to lying if they were also prone to molesting children.
I don't think any of them did. So...
Are you sure?
Yeah, no. There was one that we almost got, and he did.
Did you not think about this, and then did you get really worried when I asked this question? Because, like, oh shit, they may have actually done that?
No. There was one that we were going to get. We had an extra guy, and then he did, but we didn't end up getting him for this case, so we're good.
Okay, well, but you're also talking about now priests like they're like actors that you're casting for roles.
No, we just were like, we might need 7 priests, and then they were like, well, we've got 6. The other guy's like 50-50, and we were like, oh, okay, well, that's all right.
Miss Ward over here.
Yes?
Why do you use priests like dentists are used in gum commercials?
Why do you shut the fuck up and suck my fucking rich titties, bitch? She flipped them off. She said that. That's a quote. That's crazy. I remember that interview.
Lorraine Warren.
Brittle, author of The Devil in Connecticut, says he wrote the book because, quote,
the family wanted the story told.
I like that you're doing Brittle as a brittle man because his last name is Brittle. It's very good.
Yeah, I'm a real king of comedy.
Yeah. He claims that he possesses video of over 100 hours of his interviews with the family and that they signed off on the book as accurate before it went to print.
I love how now both sides have been like, we have the proof.
Mm-hmm. Except I think
Where is it?
Right, yeah.
We left it in a different pair of pants.
Yeah.
But we've got it.
Glatzel's father, Carl Glatzel Sr., denies telling the author that his son was possessed. Conversely, Arne Johnson and his wife, Debbie, stand by the demon story wholeheartedly.
Well, of course they fucking do. He murdered a person.
Debbie, who very recently passed away, was involved in the marketing of The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, and her interview recounting the exorcism and murder features in the film's featurette. She would state that the Glatzels in question are suing simply for monetary purposes. Carl Glatzel seemingly never came out with his evidence that proved his claims of a hoax, and his case was dismissed by the court. However, the book written by Brittle was taken out of publication because of the lawsuit. Brittle explained this by saying,
I did it because I was fed up with the case. Fed up with Carl Glatzel. It's just, it wasn't worth it to me. It had no bearing on the fact that the book was true. Which, that is bullshit, right? I mean...
Well, he didn't have to. The court dismissed the case, so he didn't have to take it out of publication. He just chose to. He genuinely seems like he was just fed up with Carl Glatzel.
But if the court dismissed it, then it would have been over, right?
Except Carl Glatzel continued to lambast him in the media, so I guess, I don't know. Did
Carl stop after the book, after
Nope.
he took it out of publication?
Nope. He keeps going. After this movie, recently, when this movie came out, I think he's 55 right now. When this movie came out, he brought it all up again. Well, anyway.
I feel like everybody's wrong.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just get the vibe that they're all lying.
For those of you who watched The Devil Made Me Do It, the parts about a master Satanist, a witch totem, and another unsolved murder case were all fictional and created for the film. What we have just told you is the events as they happened and were claimed to have happened, with perhaps a few disparities here and there. Because this whole case kind of is he said, she said kind of.
And also, don't be that guy that when you watch the movie with people be like, actually, this isn't how it happened, because we get that movies make things up to be better stories
exactly.
also.
If you want things how it happened, read a book written by the person.
Yes.
I don't know.
We're not doing this podcast in order to be like, fuck you, The Conjuring.
No,
for what you've done
that's
to this
not.
story
Yeah,
either,
that's not what
because
we're doing. Yeah,
it's an enjoyable movie.
Yeah,
I don't know. I thought it was.
I thought it was an enjoyable movie. I like the main Conjuring movies a lot. I think they're very fun, like you said, and I'm never like, whoa, this is based on a true story. I've got to take this exactly at face value. I'm like, oh, I'll have to look up.
Go ahead. Sorry, I don't mean to keep.
When I watch them, I'm like, I'll have to look up what the actual case was, but I know that it definitely didn't happen exactly like this.
Well, honestly, I think
we talked about the first one, I think, in one of our urban legends.
I would like them more if they weren't based on real lives, because it's hard to like them when I don't really like the real life Warrens.
Yeah.
But I love their movie counterparts.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Regardless of whether you believe that Arne Johnson was possessed or not, or believe in the Warrens as true demonologists, or I said that funny, I meant demonologists, or simple grifters, the case
semenologists.
Or semen. The case was still a historic and interesting footnote in the history of the United States legal system, as it was the first case within the United States where the defendant claimed not guilty by virtue of demonic possession. It had happened in 2 other cases at this point, but they were in England. This was the first, and I believe, I don't know if it was...
None of them have been accepted by the court, though.
Yeah. But it is still an interesting little thing, right? Yeah, they got thrown out almost immediately, but it is interesting that a legal team would try to push the defense of, not guilty by virtue of demonic possession.
I think something interesting, weird had to happen for a man to stab somebody as many times as Arne did.
Right.
in front of people in broad daylight, and to get off with 5 years in prison, that's pretty impressive. You know what I mean?
I think, and like I said, I'm 50-50 on the Warrens. I do genuinely believe that they believe what they were doing. Like, they believed in it. I believe in the paranormal. You know this. Our listeners know this, that I believe in. I don't, but I've said this 1,000 times. I don't fully buy into every paranormal case because I think that, of course, the Grey's episode made it sound like I don't believe in science at all, but I do. And as I was reading this case, I was like, I have to make sure that I remember to tell people that I don't just take things at face value. I think this isn't. I don't know. With this one. I think I lean more towards, if it wasn't demonic possession, that there was something else happening with Arne Johnson. Like something mental or psychological, like the blacking out. I do genuinely believe that he was having these moments where he didn't know what he was doing. But at the very least, the growling indicates that something else was happening. You know what I mean? Like, that's a weird thing for a grown man to just growl, because it's not like a grunt.
The quote of Debbie saying, "You know how Arnie gets when he drinks."
That's the other thing, right? Because he had no past criminal history at all.
Also, it's like,
but it makes me wonder.
If he didn't drink a lot, you know what I mean? Right.
It makes me wonder if he ever did anything bad while he was under the influence of alcohol. That makes me think that he's one of those guys that like gets drunk and starts arguing with people or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's the type of town or whatever that, especially you do something kind of weird, a little shady. It's like people are just gonna be like, let's just not talk about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't know.
And it also seems like Bono was kind of a shit dick.
Right. That's the thing.
In legal terms, I think he was legally
grabbing a little girl. It's weird, right? And and maybe he did say something bad about Debbie, and that pushed Arnie over the edge. But I just think it's a very interesting case. Maybe he was possessed. I'm not completely. For me, I'm not completely ruling out that either him or David were possessed. I think it's interesting. I want to hear what David has to say, because we've heard what Debbie and Arnie said. We've heard what his brother Carl says, but David hasn't spoken out and said, you know what, I went and got checked out and I suffer from this. And as a child, I was suffering from schizophrenia or whatever. So I'm interested to see what he has to say. Until then, I say it's one way or the other, whether what was actually occurring,
David, if you want to come on to our podcast.
Oh, man. Hey, man, we'll tell your story how you want it to be told.
Very understanding. We'll do whatever you want.
Yeah. But I'm excited, though, because this is our first Warrens case, and I want to do, from time to time, take a look at other Warrens cases.
I can't wait until we do what the Conjuring have already done and get into their shitty cases that mean nothing and are stupid.
Right,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's going to be fun.
Yeah. Because we've covered the Conjuring farmhouse, the one from the first one, the Perrin family. We covered that a little bit, but I'd love to give it a full episode. And then we talked about Annabelle as well, which I'd also love to give that a full.
The first movie, was that not supposed to be the Amityville horror?
No, it starts in it. Or there's like reference.
That's the Annabelle one is what it starts in.
Oh, that's right. The second one starts in Amityville.
Gotcha. So they didn't do Amityville.
They did do Amityville, but they haven't in the Conjuring movies yet.
Right. Well, but
they were there. The Warrens did go and investigate Amityville, but then also everybody investigated Amityville. So
I thought they were there. Well, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to know.
They were the ones who captured that infamous photo of the little boy, who I don't know if it's been debunked or not, but of the little boy around the corner, and like his eyes are kind of like, I can't remember if they're black or they're glowing. But it's inside the Amityville house, and that was captured on a Warren investigation.
Gotcha.
I don't know if it's been debunked. It seems like it would be one that is easily debunked, but I don't know.
It's weird that The Conjuring didn't do it yet. I guess it's probably a little overdone, but
I think that's probably why. Yeah. But anyway,
I mean, it's fucking.
Hey, this is an interesting story. Go watch the movie and tell us what you think.
James Wan, if you're listening, start directing him again, please.
Yeah, I liked this Michael Chavez guy.
It was fine. Yeah,
but I do kind of miss that James Wan quality to it.
He just has that thing, man. Like the best Fast and Furious movies are his too, just because like his camera movements and stuff are so interesting. It's interesting, yeah.
And the Warrens are one of my favorite love stories in like modern cinema. I think they're a very cute couple in the movies. Modern as in like the blockbuster version of cinema. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What? It's either them or Vin Diesel and Michelle Rodriguez. They're the two cutest ones in Hollywood right now.
I think it's interesting that James Wan started the torture porn thing with Saw and kind of ended it with the Conjuring 1, you know what I mean? I mean, arguably Insidious may have done it first. But also, shout out to Patrick Wilson for becoming a Scream King.
Yeah. I like it.
You know what I mean? He's doing his, like, you know when, like, actresses in, like, the 60s would be like, I'm a horror.
Yeah.
Just do, like, a horror.
Yeah.
He's doing that.
He's doing it.
That.
And it's great.
That's cool, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he was Ocean Man.
He was Ocean Master.
Ocean Master. I always call him Ocean Man.
Ocean Man.
Ocean Man.
Well, Mason, with that, I think it's time to wrap the show up. If you like the show, make sure to leave a 5-star review, which you can do in-app on Apple Podcasts, Audible, or Podchaser. We'd really appreciate it if you'd leave us a review. Plus, it really helps the show, and we'll read your review on the show. You can support the show by going to patreon.com/captainslogcast and donate $1. Anything helps keep the lights on. Another thing you could do to help the show and yourself is go over to Teepublic and shop our merch. Yes, that's right. We have merch. You can get anything from t-shirts to mugs with our logo on it. Remember, if you donate/support our sponsors, it all goes towards improving the show, getting better recording equipment, etc. Mason, where can the fine listeners find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Mason Schrader, but you can also find me on Redbubble at Tiny Messiah, where I am selling art, and I actually have 3 new pieces to upload, and they're exciting. I think they're some of my better work, and I'm pretty proud of them.
I'm gonna definitely order some when I get my new place.
We've got
put some Mason Schrader originals up on my walls.
We'll have the fly balls. We'll have the creeps. I've started making fake bands.
Oh, very good.
To make merch for, and it's kind of fun. So
I like it.
Yeah.
Well, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at j.valle_junior, and the show on Twitter at Instagram. The show on Twitter and Instagram at Captain's Log Pod. We recommend...
We actually got at Instagram on Twitter. It's crazy.
It's crazy. We recommend various different materials on there and post show updates and post some occasionally funny things. So go check it out. You can also subscribe on YouTube, where you can find me as Jose Valle Jr., Animal Productions, and of course, the show's official YouTube channel, Captain's Log, which, finally, ladies and gentlemen, we have gotten 100% caught up. All the videos from all the episodes are up there. Go check out our cool little intro that we did with our new theme.
Yeah.
If you can't get enough of me, you can also listen to my other podcast with friend of the log, Max Benyon, called Max and Jose Have Something to Say. And be on the lookout for Corn-Fed Iowa when that comes out as well. Yes. Make sure to tell your friends and
Also,
yes.
Sorry, I just want to give out a shout out to our friend Wade, who I learned listens to the podcast.
Oh, awesome. That's awesome.
Hi,
I'm glad to hear that. Hey, Wade.
We'll see if you listen to the outro or not.
Yeah.
And if you do, good. Is that you playing Call of Duty? Good luck. Uh-oh, look over there.
Look out, behind you.
Yeah. Oh, you're dead
Good
now.
or bad job, Wade.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make sure to tell your friends and family about the show if you enjoy it. And if you'd like to share your opinion on this case, the film, or the Warrens in general, please do so by writing in to captainslogcast@gmail.com. You can also suggest episode topics, guests you'd like to have back, etc. Make sure to subscribe and download on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Play, and any other podcast directory. Thank you to Carlos Rivera for composing our new show's theme, which I fucking love. It's great. I love it. And with that, everybody, we have reached the end of our show. We will see you soon for another special episode. I've been your captain, Jose Valle Jr., joined by...
First Officer Mason Duncan on Debunkers Schrader.
And this has been Captain's Log. End of transmission.